Hello everybody, it's me, it's DAB, the one and only, and I wanted to do a little storytime video to just wrap up the year 2025 for everybody, and kind of to celebrate something that happened to me very recently, one of the biggest milestones I'm ever going to reach as a collector, a personal milestone. Before we get to that, the first thing I have to do is I want to tell you guys a little story about myself when it comes to my childhood in gaming. When I was growing up, my introduction to gaming was with the Atari 2600, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Sega Genesis. All three of those consoles were over at my grandmother's house. I played them constantly. Didn't have a ton of games, but we had a ton of games for the Atari 2600 because, well before I was born, those were a dime a dozen. We only really had the Mario games for the NES, and for the Sega Genesis, we had Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles, a hockey game that I can't remember, and, what was the other one? Oh, right, it was Toy Story. So if I ever play that for the channel, that'll be the version I play as the Sega Genesis version, because that's what I grew up on. So, from there, I would eventually get a Nintendo 64, the GameCube, you know that story. But one game console that I never had when growing up, that just, I don't know what it was about it, it just felt like that one that got away. I really wanted a Sega Saturn. And I never got one when I was a little kid. I didn't even know more than one household that owned a Sega Saturn. And that was my cousin's then boyfriend, now husband. His family had a Sega Saturn. And I remember the game that I really wanted to play for it, and they had it, was Clockwork Knight. What about Clockwork Knight, made me want a Sega Saturn so badly? I couldn't tell you. In fact, when I was doing the Summer of Saturn, I let my daughter play Clockwork Knight for a little bit, because I was like, hey, you want to play a game Daddy really wanted to play when he was your age? She said, yeah. And she was like, it's kind of creepy. And yeah, I suppose, if you're looking at it through a modern lens, the game is kind of creepy and uncanny, but I thought it was fun. I'm really glad I played through it. I still need to play Clockwork Knight too, haven't done it. But yeah, it's that's part of what I've loved about being a game collector, is going back to these things that I never experienced, some things I never knew existed, and playing some of those amazing games. The world of Panzer Dragoon is so cool to me, and it just feels like another world. Getting to, finally play through Knights was an experience. That's the only word I can use for that game, is it was an experience. Just something I'm so glad I played, and played all the way through. That's to set this up, and to tell you guys that I remember when I first really hardcore got into video game collecting, I had just turned 18 years old. This was back in 2008. And, the game, I don't know what it was about it that was that's one of those upper echelon titles, was Panzer Dragoon Saga. And I was like, one day, I'm going to acquire a copy of this game. And I've had so many chances to get a copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga, and just whatever it was, it always slipped through my fingers. The first time, I'll never forget this. There was an auction in a town about 30 minutes from where I live. My friend Brian went with me. Brian's been on the channel a bunch of times. And there was a box that was up in the auction that had Panzer Dragoon Saga in it, and I'm like, I'm going for this. Now, unfortunately, this was well advertised, and there were vendors showed up to put bids on things. So I was like, I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. I think I only brought $500 cash with me to this. And when the auction started up, when that box out, and by the way, that wasn't the only good Saturn game that was in there. There was Magical Knight Ray Earth and stuff in there, other high-end things. I just saw Panzer Dragoon Saga. That's what my eye was on. And as soon as this goes up, remember, I brought $500 with me. The bidding starts, $300, $400, $800, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not getting Panzer Dragoon Saga, that's out. So that was the first time. Other times, I had seen it in stores, retro video game stores, and by that point the price had climbed to something that I was not financially in a place that I could have purchased it. It sucks, but it is what it is. The next time I can remember having a chance at purchasing the game was a good friend of mine had a complete Sega Saturn collection. And he was done with collecting video games. He was getting out of it. And I said to him, hey, would you sell me Panzer Dragoon Saga? I'm like, I could not do for you what that game is worth. But how about I would give you X amount in cash, and the rest would be in trade. And I, listed off a whole bunch of, not super high-end games, but there was, a copy. I had, at the time, a complete copy of Mario RPG, and I was basically going to give him more than what the game was worth in trade along with some cash, and he was down for that. Lo and behold, someone comes up and offered him a lump sum for everything. I could not deny him that. It was life-changing money for him. I couldn't begrudge him. I more than understood. So, let's go back a little bit before my birthday back in November. Me and a group of friends went out to eat. I'm not going to name the restaurant. You guys know I live in Ohio. You know, screw it. Why not say it? It's not going to hurt anything. It was Fogo de Chao in Columbus. And I don't remember the name. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. But there was a retro video game store near Columbus that always had really high-end stuff. And that was a store I'd seen Panzer Dragoon Saga before. And I was like, you know what? I could afford it now. Let's go just check it out. Let's do it. And then I was like, no, I don't need to. We're not going to even bother doing that. Let's just save the money. Not 2 weeks later, my friend AJ, who, if you guys remember, was in the Mega Man 3 Let's Play, tags me in a post on Facebook, in a collector group we were both in. There was somebody relatively local to me selling a copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga. I'm not going to say what the price was. It was significantly less than the game is going for right now. Now, I am a firm believer that nothing is one of a kind. Now, obviously, unless I run into something like, a Nintendo World Championships, or I find, the only known copy of Campus Challenge, then yeah, that's one of a kind. But really, in-game collecting, and collecting anything, really, nothing is one of a kind. Wait for a better deal to come along. Don't ever break your bank over something stupid. This deal was never coming again. The guy was, not only relatively local, but he was willing to drive to where I lived, because I wasn't able to go out of town that day. We were able to meet up. We were able to seal the deal. And well, and there she is, guys. My copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga, and for the price I paid, I never, ever could have asked for it to be any better. Only minor scuffing, no cracks in the case that I can tell. It's just character, that's all it is. I'm gonna open this up really fast. You look inside. The manual. Come on. Exquisite shape. Everything looks good. None of the pages that I could tell have been ripped. Love seeing that. The discs, first off. The game was across 4 discs. They all look immaculate. They all more or less look like that. Not a scratch to be seen. Slip that back in the case. Back. Also looking nice and clean. There's some slight warping on the cardboard inside, But once again, no damage. Excellent shape. That I thought was damage, but no, that's just part of the background of that image. And yeah, for what it is, I never could have asked for anything better. And to finally, after the 18-year journey completing to own this game, and I want to say someday I will play this for the channel. But I haven't even played Panzer Dragoon Zwei for the channel yet, and I've got to say that first time playing this, that experience needs to be reserved for just me. After all that time, it just needs to be done that way. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming on this journey with me still. It feels amazing to finally have. If you're a collector, if you've got big goals, always shoot for them. Always keep chasing them. Sooner or later, things work out. And I just want to say to end this off, you cannot see it as I look at this case, but I promise that there is a smile on my face. And across those 4 discs, each at 700 megabytes, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.